Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the Hong Kong U Research Hub of Population Studies Seminar Studies. Launched by the Faculty of the Social Sciences, the Hong Kong U, this research hub aims to provide an understanding of local, regional, national, and international patterns of demography from a multidisciplinary perspective. This population hub actually has 6 research clusters: aging, children and family, gender and sexuality, health and mortality, population and development, and urbanization and migration. Today's talk is organized under the research cluster of gender and sexuality, in which I'm the cluster leader, Travis Kong. This cluster takes an interdisciplinary approach to understand the shifting nature of gender and sexuality in the globalized world under the social, economic, and political transformations, especially focusing on East and Southeast Asia. It provides a platform for social scientists to present their cutting-edge research using both quantitative and qualitative research methods. And today we're very honored to have Professor Emiko Ochiai to be our guest speaker. Professor Ochiai is Professor of Sociology at Kyoto Sangyo University and Emeritus Professor at Kyoto University. Her research interests are gender, family, care, and intimate relations from historical and comparative perspectives. She has also devoted herself to the creation of common foundations for international research collaborations within and in Asia. She has numerous publications, including Asia's New Mothers, Transformations of the Intimate and the Public in Asian Modernity, Asian Women and Intimate Work, Asian Families and Intimacies, and Japanizing Japanese Families. She is the editor-in-chief for the Intimate and the Public in Asia and Global Perspective series from Brill. Today's talk is called Multi-Layered Diversity in Asia, How to Approach Gender and Sexuality. So please give a warm welcome to Professor Ochiai.
Hi, Professor Travis Kong. Thank you very much for your nice introduction and invitation. I remember when I came to Hong Kong last time, I used the old airport in the city center. So it means it's more than 20 years. So I'm quite excited to see the developments and changes in this society. So let me start. First, I'd like to ask you several questions. What do you think about gender and sexuality in Japan, East Asia, or Asia? I ask you to raise your hand if you agree to the statement that gender roles are more strict in Japan than in other places. Please raise your hand. Okay, the second question is, gender roles are more strict in East Asia than in other places. Please raise your hand. You are really annoyed. And then do you agree to the statement that gender roles are more strict in Asia than in other places? Okay, so I have many questions, but maybe the next one is, sexual freedom is more accepted in Japan. Do you agree? Then sexual freedom is more accepted in East Asia. Do you agree? Then sexual freedom is more accepted in Asia than in other places. Nobody? Okay. So these are the statements we encounter in many articles or books. And we sometimes feel it is quite natural to use these statements. But I want to test if these statements are okay or not. So first I will start with gender and sexuality in Japan. And I want to start from my own experience because the personal is political. I think you know this phrase, of course. Yes? Okay. Can you see me in the photo? I'm the baby. My grandma was using the scale to see my weight. And this lady is my mother. So my mother was working as a midwife for 50 years. He was the first midwife in the village in Yamagata Prefecture in the northeastern part of Japan. But my mother has been a housewife after marriage. So as a high school student, I wondered why. Because I usually told that women's oppression was harsher in the past, but my grandma was working for life, and my mother didn't have a chance to work. So I wanted to find out the reality after I entered university and started my work as a sociologist. And it's very easy to find these statistics. Women's labor force participation in Japan by age is depicted in this graph. As you see, it was quite high in 1880. Can you see the line? Okay, this is the pointer. This is the oldest line, and this is the 1900. So 1880, 1900, and 1920s. So women's participation rates in Japan declined in the first phase of modernization. And after that, around 1960s and 80s, it started to change the direction. So now we are observing the one directional rise in more recent statistics, but we have to go back to the past to understand what happened to this society. I usually think 50 years is not enough to understand the society. We have to go back at least to 100 years ago. It's so complicated. So many buttons. Okay, this is good. Yeah. これは sorry. I didn't add English here. This is Japan, the second one. You can read. And this is Sweden, US, Germany, France, and England. So other countries are mostly European countries and the United States. As you see, the long-term trends in women's labor force participation in these countries show that it was Japan that kept the highest proportion until 1970s. It's only after that Western countries surpassed Japan. So maybe we usually think women are working more in European countries or America, but it is not correct. At the beginning of the 20th century, these are US and Sweden. So their women's participation rate was quite low, around 20%. How is it in this country now? Proportion of women in labor force? Maybe later you will answer. And Japan had the highest. So we have to change our perception of women and work in different parts of the world. Okay, then divorce and remarriage. My grandma's grandma married 4 times and divorced 3 times. Is it too many? My mother was shocked to learn about it, but I was not, because I'm a family researcher and family historian too. So I had statistics about divorce rate and remarriage rate in Edo period. So I told my mother, it's a bit higher than average, but it's not so extreme, particularly because she was an inheriting daughter. Do you understand the term inheriting daughter? In Japan, if there are no sons, daughter can be the successor of the family. And she received a marrying husband, and he became the head in official records, but in actual life, the woman was the boss. So inheriting daughters had power. So she could say, I don't want you anymore. so he had the right to kick out their husbands. So she divorced many times and remarried many times, but it was okay because she was an inheriting daughter. And her families were also very worried about the ability of the man, because the man have to manage the household for many years. So if they find this man not good enough for the job, the family members also agreed to kick him out. So the divorce rate in Japan was high. Usually wives were kicked out, but I'm saying that husbands were also kicked out by the wife, and it was more frequent. In marrying, husbands were kicked out of the household more often than in marrying wives, you see, because the quality of the person was very important. So in Japan, divorce rate was quite high at the beginning of the modernization period. So it was like this. Usually people see this, only see this and say, oh, divorce rate is rising in Japan. It's the, it must be Western influence, but that is not true. Western influence was this. Their influence decreased divorce rate because divorce was considered to be, it was prohibited in Christian world, but it was completely okay in Japan. And remarriage was also okay. I know remarriage was quite dishonorable in Confucian world, but in Japan, people said, If you want to know the horse, you have to ride on it. If you want to know a person, you have to, okay. So, so it was a wise way to choose good one. So in 18th century, as I said, I'm a family historian too. So if we go back to the 18th century, 1 in 3 marriages ended in divorce. And 70% of divorced or widowed women remarried in around 3 years. So it was completely okay. So this is Japan. Did I change the image of Japan in you? So I like to talk to old women, old people, particularly women. So I interviewed this old lady who was 100-year-old. I interviewed her around 20 years ago. She lived in Kagoshima, in Kyushu Island, and she was born in 1904. So if you are interested, you can read this article, this chapter. あ、また切っちゃった。どうしたの? Sorry. Yeah, okay, let's listen to her story. She said, when we were young, we'd sometimes spend the night at a friend's house. One night here, another night there. Then the man would go there. There'd be 2 or 3 women sleeping, and he'd tug at the one that he liked. The women understood it too. This is the custom called yobai, or night calling. Call somebody's name at night. Or in this area, in Kagoshima, it was called yobanashi, night talking. Isn't it nice? It's not only sex, but talk. So if you find this man or woman good for you, you can go further. And this custom was quite widespread in Japan in pre-modern period and the beginning of modern period, in Meiji period too. And she talked about her son, Fumio. I wasn't married when Fumio was born. Fumio's father was a carpenter from Kanoya City. He already had a wife. He said he wanted to live with me, even for just 3 days, to have a home together. And well, I went along with him. He tricked me with his honey words. Yeah, it happens anytime. And he gave birth to Fumio. I wanted to raise him myself. We lived together until he was about 5. Then my mother raised him because she remarried. She went to the house of the second husband. So the son was raised by grandma as the successor of the house. So his life was not so bad. And she said there were people like that all over. Proportion of children out of wedlock was quite high at the beginning of modern period in Japan. It was close to 10%. It's quite low now, only 2%. Do you have the statistics for Hong Kong illegitimate births? Maybe not so high. But it is not culture. People usually say, oh, it's East Asian culture. No, look at Japan. At the beginning of the modern period, or in Tokugawa period, Edo period, it was around 10%. And we know the proportion of illegitimate births was higher in Kyushu area, in southwestern Japan. This is the research result from a study of Shumon Aratamecho, the documents from Edo period. The majority of marriages were registered in the same year with the first births in the 1760s and 70s. What does it mean? The same year, the marriage and birth happened in the same year. This is the cases of premarital conception. So premarital pregnancy was common, but it was considered to be a rule, kind of rule. So if you are pregnant, oh, it's time to marry. So the order was different. So, but the, but the proportion, this is the proportion of births that occurred in the same year with marriage. So these are the proportion of the cases of premarital conception. So it was majority, but it became smaller, but still it was around 40% soon before Meiji Restoration. So people became more, serious, but not so much. And you might be worried about the life of these children born out of wedlock. As I said, it was not so bad. This is the result of the study by Nakajima Mitsuhiro, who used to be my student. He divided illegitimate children into 3 categories. This is it. Can you read? These are ordinary births where both parents are known, are recorded. This is ordinary. This solid line. And this is the births with only mother. This graph is showing the survivorship rate. So the children with only mother survived almost the same to children with 2 parents. So they were not discriminated. But if they were raised by the father or none of the parents, they died quickly. Okay? But this graph shows you if you have at least mother, you can live long as ordinary children. So, as we say, as we saw, the gender and sexuality in Japan in the past was quite different from the ordinary images, the images ordinary people have. So we have to construct a method to learn about these kind of forgotten realities. So I started a project to construct common foundations for research collaboration in Asia, because we know very little about others in Asia. So these are the people who collaborated. There were more. This is a group of people who gathered in 2012. And we made a network of scholars in Asia or outside Asia who are interested in Asian societies, particularly focusing on family, intimacies, and gender sexuality issues. Then what did we do? We conducted two projects together, Asian Intellectual Heritage and Comparative Asian Database. Asian Intellectual Heritage is a project to collect, translate, and share the important works from insider perspectives, mostly written in local languages. We usually learn about other Asian countries through English texts, but not all most influential works in Asian countries are translated into English. So our idea was to learn directly from our neighbors. And in the second project, we created databases that enable adequate international comparison. I am quite envious about Eurostat. For Europeans, it's quite easy to compare different countries in Europe because they already have Eurostat. So I recommended our government to initiate this project to construct Asiastat, but they were not so interested. They say, "Oh, it is too difficult. There are many countries we cannot convince." So we decided to create the databases for ourselves. On the top of these two layers, we think effective international collaborative research projects can be done. And the outcomes from these two layers are them. Asian families and intimacies in 4 volumes in English and 3 volumes in Japanese, and the CAFS database, Comparative Asian Family Survey. If you are interested in the database, please Google Comparative Asian Family Survey. The data are already open to academic use. But today I'm going to talk about this project, Asian Intellectual Heritage Project. We started the project from Asian families and intimacies. And we really hope others will follow us on different topics to collect Asian works on different topics. But today I will show you what we did about Asian families and intimacies. So as I said, it's a collection, translation, and sharing of important works from insider perspectives. And we collected classical or canonical works, as well as contemporary texts. And these are the editors, international editorial team. Are there any names you are familiar with? Do you know Gwen Hu Minh, for example, from Vietnam? Min. And Caroline Sobricia from the Philippines. But how about Patricia Ubeloy from Thailand? And how about Tanet Oyanawa from Thailand? Tanet is called Michel Foucault in Thailand. And he is often invited to Australia to give lectures. So he's quite famous, and others too. So if you don't know these names, it is evidence that Asian scholars do not know each other. Yeah, they are famous ones, well-known ones, leading scholars in their societies, but they are not so well-known outside their countries in Asia. This is a big problem. This doesn't happen in Europe. So we have to read the works from these people or other leading scholars in Asia first to talk about Asia. And there are more scholars from China. Maybe you know some of them, and Taiwan. Okay. Sorry, in this occasion, we didn't include Hong Kong scholars. Sorry, next time, let's work together. Okay. So our books are divided into 6 parts, like this. Okay, then what could we find out from this project? Yeah, it is multi-layered diversity in Asia. Yeah, at least for me. Maybe if you read these books, maybe you can find more interesting points. But for me, it was in multi-layered Asia. The starting point was this: similarity between Japan and Thailand. I talked about yobai custom, night calling custom, in our meeting, and Korean scholars and Korean, Taiwanese, and Vietnamese scholars found the story weird. Bad manners. Yobai, night calling. Did it happen in Japan? Anti-Confucian society? But Thai scholar Tanet was so excited and said, "Oh, it's called Kunha in Thailand. You call it yobai." Yeah, we have the same custom. In our societies, virginity was not valued, and there was no taboo on premarital sexual intercourse or outside marital relationship. It was not completely okay, but it happened and people accepted. And divorce and remarriage were easy and frequent in Thailand too. And as you know, homosexuality was widespread. It's widespread in both countries. So there are so many similarities between Japan and Thailand. But why? People usually think Japan should have more similarities with East Asian countries. But no, Japan is similar to Thailand. It's because of their bilateral kinship system. Do you know the term bilaterality? Please raise your hand. You know this term, bilateral kinship system. Okay. It's not patrilineal, no matrilineal. You know patrilineality and matrilineality. And bilaterality is something different from both of them. Both lines were valued, or people didn't care about lines. People just care about the relationship on both sides. So this is bilaterality. But in other societies in Asia, for example, India and China, they have different kinship systems called patrilineal kinship system. In these societies, sexual relations before marriage were forbidden, and female sexuality was under the control of males. And remarriage for women was considered to be a taboo or problematic. So you can see the custom of sati in India. This picture shows the scene of sati. Have you heard of it? Women were burnt in the funeral fire of the husband because if she was alive, she might cause problems relating to sexuality. So patrilineal groups doesn't like to have a child, problematic child after the death of the husband. And the idea was the same in Confucian societies. There's a saying that a chaste woman doesn't have two husbands. Do you know this term? Yes? No? Yes? Oh, you don't know? Oh, quite liberated. So we have to distinguish two Asias, patrilineal Asia and bilateral Asia. There are three centers of patrilineal Asia, including China, India, and the Middle East. And then I coined the word White Southeast Asia. It's a region with ethnic groups with bilateral kinship structure, including Japan, Korea, Ryukyu, Taiwan, and Vietnam, and other Southeast Asian societies. So usually, countries like Japan, Korea, and Taiwan, Ryukyu, are included in East Asia. But if we look at kinship systems, they belong to wide Southeast Asia. So they had more flexible gender roles and rules and sexuality. You see, this is a map of Asia. But sometimes happened after that. Civilization started from the central regions of patrilineal Asia. The centers of patrilineality are the centers of big civilizations, as you know. Probably we can explain why, but well, this is a too difficult question. So anyway, major civilization are based on patrilineal kinship systems. And when they influence the societies outside them, they brought patrilineal ideology. So wide Southeast Asia received Sinicization, Sanskritization, Islamization. Yeah, in East Asia, in 7th century, there were several female kings. She is, can you pronounce? シードック。Yeah. Okay. So anyway, she's from Shilla, in Korean Peninsula. She was the king in this period. And she's Emperor Jito of Japan, almost similar period. And there were female kings in East Asia too, but they were teased or punished by Chinese emperors. Have you heard of the stories? This Korean female king spent many years to receive the golden seal from the Chinese emperor. So the Chinese emperor didn't find her as a suitable person as a king because she's a woman. So she had to prove she had the capacity for the role. So she spent many years. In the case of Japanese emperors, they didn't care about the permission from the Chinese emperor because Japan was much far from the center of China. But both of these female kings and have this Chinese, how do you call, crown for Chinese emperors. And before this period, Vietnamese female kings or leaders were killed in the war against China much earlier time. So there were many Chinese kings and leaders outside the region of China, but they were they had problems with the Chinese civilization. And the true transformation of East Asian societies occurred after 17th century. About Korea, a scholar from Switzerland called it Confucian transformation. Professor Doihira called it Confucian transformation of the Korean society. It happened after the invasion of Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the Japanese shogun at the time. And after that time, before that time, Korea was a matrilocal society, and women had the right of inheritance. But after Joseon dynasty, after the in the late period of Joseon dynasty, everything was changed. At that time, young widows were encouraged by the government to remain chaste, even after the death of the husband. So this is the rule of no two husbands. So faithful woman gates are found in China, Korea, and Taiwan. I call this faithful women gate. How do you call it? Okay. So yeah, And you can find it in Korea too, and Taiwan, and China. How about in Hong Kong? But not in Japan, at least. In Japan, we don't have this because remarriage was encouraged. So it was an important way to continue family. So Confucianism arrived to Japan earlier, but it was not so, well, Japan was not so serious to develop Confucian customs like civil service examination system, Kuju. We didn't have that. We are very bad, exceptional country in East Asia. So thanks to that, we kept sexual freedom. And it became an official ideology in 17th century, but the scholars were not successful in applying Confucian concepts to everyday life. So we published this book, it's East Asia, a Confucian Society, in Japanese, comparing different experiences in East Asian societies. This book is being translated into Chinese. So the bilateral societies received influences from patrilineal societies. In eastern part of wide Southeast Asia, it was Sinicization. But in other parts of large Southeast Asia, it was Sanskritization. And in some parts, it was Islamization. And Europe also received some influence from patrilineal societies. We have to remember Europe is another group of societies based on basically bilateral kinship systems. As you see, there are several female kings in Europe. This is the evidence that they don't follow patrilineal system. And in Japan, there were several female emperors, as we saw, but Meiji government changed the idea. So now the Japanese Tenno are following patrilineal system. That is why they have the danger of extinction. They are stupid. So as I said, Europe is bilateral societies. But I have to skip this part to go into westernization and modernization. Modernization is the third layer. And modernization is a unique type of civilization because the center of this civilization, Europe, is a bilateral society. I skipped, but they are bilateral. But it doesn't mean they are not patriarchal because they developed a male breadwinner, female housewife type gender division of labor, which formed the basis of modern patriarchy. So we have to pay attention to the difference between patrilineal patriarchy and modern patriarchy based on division of labor. then I want to show you how the modernization affected gender roles in East Asia. We have the term good wife and wise mother, or wise mother, good wife, or something. They are created under the influence of modern Western division of labor by gender. Do you know that? Do you think they are Confucian terms? There are several studies about that in Japan, in China, and Korea, and they found these terms didn't exist in pre-modern period. It was created in Meiji Japan under the influence from England. So in England, there was the idea that mother's role is important to raise, healthy soldiers and workers. And the Japanese government in Meiji period imported this idea, and they created the idea of good wife and wise mother. So it was a modern idea. So this is a picture from Shanghai. Isn't she modern? Doesn't she look modern? She's not depicted as a image of traditional woman. She's she's shown as a modern figure. So it was a modern idea. Housewife was a modern idea. But this label was changed after the First World War. Around that time, feminist movement occurred in Europe and America. And the image of individualistic new woman appeared. And also the image of new woman entered East Asia. At that time, people in East Asia saw this as a Western image of women. And suddenly they changed the image of good wife and wise mother. Yeah, it was a modern invention, but after accepting the Western idea of new woman, they wanted to, Asian people wanted to consider good wife and wise mother is a traditional Asian woman. So there was a twist about the conceptions and images of women. I would call it cultural geopolitics of Asia, or self-orientalism, or traditionalization of modern gender roles. Modern gender roles were imported from Europe, but it became the identity of East Asian countries or Asian countries in general through the mechanism I call self-orientalism. So self-orientalism is a mechanism to consider ourselves as different, the opposite of the Westerners. So modern gender roles are considered as Asian tradition in many Asian societies through this mechanism. And we are really annoyed by that. Okay, I skip this. Okay. I have to conclude. So as we saw, there are various diversities in Asia, and they are multi-layered. At the basis, the very basis, there's a kinship structure, and patrilineality and bilateralities are different. And in the second layer, civilization, Confucianization, Sanskritization, Islamization occurred. And on the top of these two layers, modernization or westernization occurred. I didn't talk about this, but capitalist modernization and socialist modernization can be divided. It is very important in the context of East Asia. And now we're witnessing globalization. So Asia is not one, and Asia is not crash of civilizations. People usually think about diversity in Asia and the diversity of civilizations, but that is too simplistic. This is the message from me today. This shows the gender role changes in the modern period from tradition to through first modernity and second modernity. But this is a bit complicated. So if, well, I can go back if there are questions. And the last point is the result from Comparative Asian Family Survey I mentioned, the second layer project. We can produce this kind of statistics. This is one example, attitude toward the statement, it's all right for a couple to live together without intending to get married. They are all East Asian and Southeast Asian societies, but the attitude were quite different, and it changed by generation. But the patterns of change are also different by the society. We can explain the differences using the framework of multi-layered diversity. Thank you very much. This is the end of my speech.